I hope everybody has joined the session and they have on their cameras for a better visibility and a good connection. So we'll start with the session. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm delighted to welcome you all to this enlightening event. My name is Sonali Dubedi and I proudly serve as the Alumni Relations Lead at Jaro Education. Let me take a moment to introduce Jaro Education. Jaro Education is India's most trusted online higher education company, established in 2009. Over the years, we have transformed the careers of more than 350,000 individuals. Our partnerships with esteemed global and national institutes such as Wharton, IIMs, and IITs have been instrumental in shaping the educational landscape. Today, I'm excited to share insights about the Jaro Connect portal and its application, available on both Android as well as iOS platforms. The Jaro Connect portal is a comprehensive hub designed exclusively for our students. It offers a plethora of benefits, including job opportunities, networking with peers, and access to free boot camps and webinars. Without further add-on, I'd like to introduce our distinguished guest, Mr. Sarveshwaran Rajagopal, a senior data scientist specialist at LTI Mindtree, with credentials from prestigious institutions like IIT Stuart School of Business, Great Lakes Institute of Management, and BITS Pilani. Mr. Rajagopal is a certified data scientist. His expertise spans data in numerous businesses towards growth. Moreover, his dedication to mentoring over 840 learners and investing more than 1,100 hours underscores his passion for empowering careers in data science. Notably, he is not just a seasoned mentor, but also an engaging speaker with Capstone Project Mentor, cementing his pivotal role in the field. Requesting Mr. Rajagopal to take ahead the session. So the mic is all yours.
Hi. Hello guys, good afternoon. Good afternoon, one and all present here. And I welcome you all to this session. Right, it's great to see so many of the alumni of Jaro Education present here. I'll quickly share my screen and we'll go ahead with this session. Can you please enable me the session sharing, Sonali? Screen sharing.
Yes, sir, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Right, I hope you're all able to see my screen. Right, so the agenda of the session is to understand the different data vertical roles. Right, so we know there is a lot of buzz in the market, and you all have completed a data science, data analytics course. So let's understand what are the different data roles that's available in the industry. Right, so that's the agenda that we have taken. So we'll start with what are the different roles in the data field, and give you an example or a case study how Zomato doesn't the image classification with the help of all the different roles, the data analyst, the data scientist, machine learning engineer, the business analyst. How are the different roles involved? And let's go through each one by one, each and every one role that's present here. Okay, so first of all, let's start with what is a data science, right? So there is a lot of buzz in the data market. We had three V's: velocity, veracity, variety, right? So we had a lot of data that's present. So the big data emerged. So the data is stored. What to do more? So that's where the prediction has come in. There's a lot of advancements in the data sciences in the last 6 months. After the boom of this generative AI, there's this exponential the expansion in the data science field. So let me quickly give you an overview of what is in data science and how are the different roles interacting with the data scientist and the machine learning engineer, right? So the data science is a study of data to extract meaningful insights of the business, of the data for the business, right? So it is a multidisciplinary approach that combines the principle and practices in the fields of mathematics and computer science and the domain in which you are working, right? So so the mathematics and computer science together, you make it as a machine learning engineer. If you're good with mathematics and you're very good with your computer science, you become your machine learning engineer, right? So you are very good in your mathematics and in your domain, the domain in which you're working, you become a research and an analyst, right? So you're well versed in the computer science field. The computer science field, as in you're very good with your programming and good with your domain knowledge, you become a data engineer. Well, at a very high level, this is the three fields that I'm speaking about, right? So so this analysis helps the data scientist to ask and answer the question like what happened, why it happened, what will happen, and what can it be done with these results, right? So these are the the four different analysis that we have. Right, so that's where the four different data and the four different study has come in. Your descriptive analytics, your diagnostic analysis, your predictive and prescriptive has come in. So what has happened that comes in your descriptive analysis, what happened in your, why it happened in your diagnostic analytics, how will it happen in your predictive analytics, and what should we do with the information that we have, that comes in your predictive analytics. So as we know, these are the three main circles, right? So how the layering happens in the data sciences? The artificial intelligence, so it's a very broad term. The artificial intelligence and the data science goes hand in hand. The terms and goes hand in hand, right? So a program that can sense, reason, act, and adapt. It's an artificial intelligence. It's an all in all, right? So within the artificial intelligence, some subset is your machine learning. The algorithms whose performance improve as they are exposed to more data over time. So that's where your data comes in. So the artificial engineer, your the machine learning engineer, the data analyst. So there are so many broad terms. So the subset in the artificial intelligence is a machine learning. Subset in your machine learning is your deep learning. Now the latest advancement I'll also show you. So what has happened here? So the subset in your deep learning is your generative AI. This is the latest the architecture change that has happened. So the subset in the deep learning is your generative AI. Right? So it's far different from your machine learning and your generative AI. So the machine learning is different. So it's a subset. That's what I would say. So generative AI makes use of all your large language models to construct the content like your trained data. Right? So in the traditional machine learning, you understand the data and predict or you classify. So that's what your traditional machine learning, right? So the traditional machine learning that comes with your discriminative in nature, which is unidirectional, which has a label and an unlabeled data, right? So say for example, the recommendation systems, your virtual assistants, your speech recognition, all that comes in your traditional ML bucket. Right now comes the subset of it, your generative AI. So what's the specialty of your generative AI? It's bidirectional in nature. It's dual learning. It has the unlabeled data. It has both the uni model, bimodal, and multimodal data. Right. So where does it use? Right. So it is a creative task with customization. Right. So it constructs the data like your trained data. You're going to pass a text, so it's going to generate an image. You're going to ask a question, it's going to answer, which was trained in the model with billions of parameters. That's where your large language models comes in, right? So the generative AI independently generate content in response to the prompts. So the very important term see here, it generate content in response to the prompt. Right? So that's where your prompt engineering has come in. So there are various different prompts, zero shot prompting, few shot prompting, and there are various different prompt engineering techniques that's present in the market. right? So that's where the latest addition in the architecture is your generative AI. I will not call it as an architecture, it's a subset in the deep learning. Okay, so let's take with in data science flow, and we'll see what are the different roles that's interacting with the data scientist. Let's start here. So once you're going to start the project, the first and foremost important thing is the business understanding, right? So there are various different frameworks that's available in the market. So I have come up with my own framework. So there are standard framework like Osman framework, the process, or CRISP DM framework, right? So this is a framework which is more to the reality, right? The CRISP DM gives a six-step framework. The Osman gives a different framework like OSEMN, right? So obtain data, scrub data, explore data, model data, and you interpret the results. So Osman. So this is a different kind of a data science flow. Once you start here, you should have the business understanding. That's the first and foremost important thing, the business understanding. Once you understand the business, you look for the data acquisition and understand. What is the data that is available? Do you have the data? Do you have the enough data available? If there is enough data, right, will it fulfill the needs of the business? Is there some data or is there some useful data? Believe me, this takes the most amount of time to understand the data, which whether will it fulfill the business needs, right? So the data acquisition and understanding. You collect the data from various different sources. You acquire, you understand, you create a metadata, you create a data dictionary, and then you create and you do the feature engineering. If there is no such kind of data present, how can you come up with your own variable? Is your feature engineering. Say, for example, in banking sector, right? So there is a CIBIL score, right? There is a CIBIL score across different industry. Likewise, every bank, right? Most of these banks have their own kind of a credit rating. Whether can I give a loan or can I not give a loan based on their own parameters. Did this guy pay the past dues properly, right? Will he be delinquent? So what is the status of his delinquency, right? So I'm coming up with my own variable, my own feature by doing the transformation, binning. You do the you select. It also happens with the text, image, and this more of your feature selection. You do the feature engineering. Your data is ready. You have done the transformation. There is no proper relationship. You take the square. You want to give and feature importance to a specific variable. You take in square. You want to downsize the importance. You take in square root. You want to give more weightage. You take the cube root. Right. So there are so many things that happens. So the selection of the variables that happens in the feature engineering. And then comes your modeling, the very important, the crux part, the model training and the model evaluation. In the model training, the algorithm, the ensemble parameter tuning, your retraining and model management. All this comes in your model training. Your model evaluation. So you have built a model, whether it is worth, right? So whether it is a dumb, whether it is performing better than your dumb model, whether it is performing better than your baseline model, your baseline accuracy, right? You do various different techniques like cross validation, model reporting, A/B testing, right? So you do all these things, right? And then you do the deployment, and then it goes to the customer acceptance, right? So look at the deployment and feature engineering goes hand in hand. Deployment and modeling goes hand in hand. Deployment and data acquisition also goes hand in hand, right? This is where your model governance has come in place, right? You have taken a business objective, you have built the model and you have put it in production, right? Later on, the objective has changed or there is a data drift has to happen, right? When there is a data drift, you go back and do in feature engineering, you do the modeling and deployment. So this is where all these roles come in and place and very important, the bonding between each other and create an beautiful solution, right? So let's take an example here, right? So let's go through and sample data science project to elaborate on the different roles that you see in the data science. A data science team in Zomato might be assigned to use deep learning to classify images, right? So I'm going to take an image classification, right? So I have millions of photos that are uploaded in Zomato each and every day. So it's hard for the team, right? And it's hard to get images that you want of each and every restaurant. They are not of great quality, not of proper structure, not of the need that actually fulfills for the classification. So what are the roles that I know here? I need a data scientist, a data engineer, a data analyst. So we are going to use a machine learning. So we are going to use a machine learning technique to automatically categorize which images fall into which category. So we have a broad of 5 or 6 categories. So which category that food fall in? Is it in beverage? Or is it in main course? Or is it in starter? Or is it in dessert? Right? So you want to categorize the initial categorization that you're doing. So the compute. So with the help of the training set, you tell whether an image is outside a restaurant food or not, right? So you do the first classification, whether that is the restaurant food or it is outside of the restaurant food, right? So for that, the initial purpose, so I've taken the data scientist. So what does a data scientist do? Is going to create a model to help machines create those distinctions, whether that image is outside of the restaurant or it's a restaurant food, right? So they would be able to think through the types of data they need, from manually tagged photos to keywords in image captions, right? So this is where your senior data scientist comes in, right? So this is where you have to foresee and what is the kind of image that you need for the training, right? So this often manages data products from end to end and deal with all the facets of data science problems, from algorithm selection to engineering design. You do the modeling, data scientist is going to do the pick the right algorithm, collect the data from the data engineer, and do the prediction. So where does your data engineer come in? So the data engineers create a system to source all the image data and store it as well, implement some algorithms determined by the data scientist at scale. So here we have given two problems, two roles of a data engineer. First, the data engineer is going to procure the data from various different sources, various different databases. He's going to source the data and he is going to give it to the data scientist. Role number one. Role number two, once the solution is built, how can we build it at scale, right? So I would have built a solution in my local system or in Azure, I would have taken a single node and I have built it. How can I do it at a scale? I want to containerize it. I want to use in Kubernetes, and I want to respond to multiple requests that I have from the end user. That's the role of your data engineers. How can I scale and solution? How can I scale and solution? Right? This tends to be a role of people with strong technical background. Right? So they do not have to, they don't have to get into so much of mathematics and a lot of algorithm designing, all those things. So these people are in tech savvy. Right? They are very good tool. They are very good with the tools with what they have, right? Say, for example, if you're using your Azure or your AWS or GCP and various different tools, you have Azure Functions, Azure Kubernetes, containers, various different tools that's available within the single cloud platform. So how will I make use of that applications and how can I scale? So where does the data analyst come here? The data analyst query and present the business implications of the change. Did it actually please the user? Right? Did it fulfill the end use case? Right? So how much more traffic did Zomato generate due to the recent change? Your data analyst comes more from your descriptive analysis and your diagnostic analytics stage phase. In the predictive and prescriptive is where your data scientist and data engineers comes in. Let's go to the different roles we have. Okay, the data science processes, right? So the data collection, data cleaning, you do the exploratory data analysis, model building, and model deployment. So where does the different roles fit in? So the data engineers does the data collection and the data cleaning. The data analyst does the data cleaning and it does the exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis is nothing but your descriptive analysis. Your machine learning engineers comes from the model building to the deployment. The data scientist role, so it's very fancy to say it's all in all the data scientist should be there, but he has an equal role, the involvement in each and every step. From the data collection, he should interact with the data engineers and get the data, and with the data scientist again interact with the data analyst and do the exploratory data analysis. He should again interact with the model building and the deployment with the machine learning engineers and get the solution done. So data scientists should have an visibility of the end-to-end step from the data collection, cleaning, exploratory data analysis, model building to the model deployment. All right. So let's start with your data engineer. So where does your data engineer come in? So what is the role of a data engineer? Right. So the data engineers are the ones who will ensure that the required pipelines are in place, ensuring good quality of data and timely delivery of data to everyone who needs to work with the data. So the data engineers work to prepare the data and make raw data to more useful and analytical and operational uses. Like I said, there is a two important role of a data engineer. He source the data and give it to the data scientist or the machine learning engineer. And the solution that the machine learning engineer has built, how should we scale the data? Right? So the data engineers build and maintain the systems that allow the data scientist to access and interpret the data. Right? So how will I access and interpret the data? So they are supporting the data scientist. Right? So these data engineers work more closely with the underlying technologies than a data scientist. Like I said, they are tech savvy, the tool savvy, the tech savvy. Right? So the roles, if you ask them, they create the data models, they build the data pipelines, they oversee the ETL, the extract, transform, load, your famous ETL processes. Right? So the language and tools that the data engineer would require is your SQL, your Python, Hive, Pig, the Kafka, Spark, Airflow, Luigi, and AWS, Azure, or in GCP, the cloud platforms. Right? So so nowadays, seldom we see the solutions that's built in on-prem. 80% of solutions post-COVID has completely shifted to the cloud platforms. The drastic change has happened post-COVID era. Right? So the on-prem and the cloud, they call it as a post-COVID era. There is a significant increase in cloud usage. All right. So the average CTC for a fresher, right? You can ask from 9.5. Right? 9.5 is the salary that you can quote as a data engineer with less than 1 or 2 years of experience. Once you're good with the skills, this is a salary that you can quote for. This is a thumb rule or the starting salary that you can ask for if you're a data engineer. Nothing less than that. Right? So the skills would be a data warehousing, the ability to write, analyze, debug SQL queries, experience in working with your big data platforms like your Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, Flume, Hive, right? So experience in handling data pipelines and workflow management tools like the Airflow. So experience in handling stream processing such as Strong and Spark streaming, and strong with a very strong communication skills. Right. So yeah. So do we need practical experience in all these fields? It's again good to have and practical experience. I don't know which in which slide that has come in. Like if you're asking about the data engineer, yeah. So it's a must to know a cloud platform. It's a must to know your SQL, a programming language, or in other words, you should have the ability to get the data, source the data, get from different database, get it in the form, structure in the needs of your data scientist. Okay. The next comes your data or an BA analyst. All right. So where does your the role of a data or an BA analyst comes in? So the data analysts are responsible for collecting, processing, and analyzing the data to help the company find insights from it, which helps in taking the business decisions. Right. So the business analyst are nothing but data analyst, but more focused on the visualization and reporting aspect of it. So that's why I've added both the data analyst and business analyst in the same slide. Right. So what is the difference between your data sciences and your data analytics? So this is again your famous question that's always asked. Right. So we may use these terms interchangeably. Right. So the data analytics that I mentioned is again a subset of your data sciences. Right. The data science is it's an umbrella of term. Right. It has all the aspects of the data processing. Right. So from the data collection to modeling insights. Right. So the data analytics is mainly concerned with your stats, mathematics, and your stats, right, and your statistical analysis. Right. So so the language and tools that a data analyst should be knowing is your SQL, and the business analyst, your business intelligence analyst here, your BA analyst should be knowing your Tableau, Power BI, or in ClickView. Right. So the basics of big data, the basics of cloud. Right. It's not a must to get into the big data on cloud. It's a good to know. Right. So the data analyst, you should get the data, and does it fulfill the business needs? Did it fulfill the business needs? Your data analyst comes in. The national average salary that you can quote as a fresher is your 6 lakh. 6 LPA is in salary that you can quote, and you have so much of openings in the area of a data analyst or a business analyst. So if you are someone who are aspiring to become a data scientist, and if you want to take a step one, get into the data analyst field. Learn these tools as SQL or the Tableau or Power BI. Excel in it for a year. Take a next step. Learn data engineering and take a next step, becoming data scientist. That's the only good advice that I always say to all the students here. Right? You cannot become a hero overnight, right? So you go step by step. Go step by step. A lot of in the market in the last post-COVID, there is a lot of data sciences term, but once you go in as a data scientist, what you'll be doing is more of your data analyst, right? More of your BA analyst. So these terms are misused, right? So you should be very careful when looking at the JD and going through the opportunities, right? So so this is your step one that you can take, that you want to get into a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. Get into a data analyst, right? So excel in this. The skills that is required are the programming skills in your Python, solid understanding of your database management systems, you're proficient with your SQL, good data visualization skills, that's proficient with Tableau, Power BI, or ClickView. Right. So basics understanding of predictive modeling is important, that you should also learning, right? Okay. Now going to the next step, the machine learning engineer. Right. So the machine learning engineer are mostly the people from software engineering background who are responsible to take the data science use cases and make it deployable. See the term, you make it deployable. That's where the lack of skill sets in the current market. So they take the code from the internet, and you do some modeling from the process data that the data engineer, you call yourself as a data scientist. How are you going to deploy it? You should have the capability to deploy, right? Your ML ops comes in, right? You should build the model and deploy the model, right? So before 2 to 3 years, the scope of a machine learning engineer or a data scientist was very limited. Now the expectation from a data scientist, yes, it's way higher than what it was like 2-3 years back, right? You should have an ability to get the data, right, model and deploy, monitor. So these are the very important steps, right? So the language and tools is your Python. See, this Python is very important. So this Python is a connector. It's like a connector or an it's an enabler to do your data science activities and your machine learning algorithms. You do the deep learning and natural language processing. Your Java, Java or Python, anyone, your DBMS, your cloud architecture, your big data architectures, your AWS, the cloud platform is a must. The salary average that you can step in is 9.5. Nothing less than that. You cannot quote something less than 9.5, because this is also an a direct job. It's going to take a lot more of your time and your energy, right? So nothing more than 9.5. If you're in fresher, right? So 2 to 3 years, you can multiply. The multiplier values have changed from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5. So what is 2.5, 3.5 years of experience, right? So into a 2.5x, right? So 2 years of experience, right? So they say if your first 2 years of experience, multiply it with 3 2s are 6 lakhs per annum is the salary that you can quote if you are 2 years of experience. All those things have changed. For the data field, you can have a multiplier of 3.5 to 4 is your multiplier. 3 years of experience, 3 into 3, 9, or 3 into 4, 12. Nothing less than that, right? So that's the amount of the pay scale that the industries are willing to pay. Post COVID, they are ready to pay, but there is a lack of the skill set, right? So even the multiplier I have seen with 5 or 5.5 even, that kind of a crazy multiplier happens within first 5 years. There are some very good, even the service companies are nowadays ready to pay, right? I'm not speaking about the top notch or the Microsoft, Google kind of organizations. Even the service companies are willing to pay at a multiplier of 4 or 4.5. Believe me, that's how it has changed during the COVID. Now the market is a bit dull. I agree. For the last 2 quarters, it will emerge. It will come back. So right now the multiplier is 2.5 to 3. Right? So soon it could reach a 4 to 4.5 is the multiplier. So always take your years of experience to multiply with a number. So if you are stuck with what is the number that you should quote, right? You should always take your years of experience and multiply, right? So your ML engineer is going to learn the various skills like your bagging, boosting. You are going to learn all your advanced regressions, the convolution neural networks, your recurrent neural networks. You do if you're getting into the NLP space, it's an ocean by itself. You're going to do your lexical processing, your syntactic processing, your semantic processing, right? So nowadays the boom of LLM has come in, right? So you learn how to you understand what a transformer architecture is, right? So and how are you going to use the large language model? How are you going to generate the content, right? So all this has come under the scope of a machine learning engineer, right? Like I said, it's an umbrella of a term. If you're getting into a deep learning space, if you're getting into an image, the vision analytics, right? You get into image processing, that's a different skills that's required. If you're getting into the text space, there is a different skill set that's required. Believe me, there is so much of budgeting that has happened in the area of NLP, due to the boom of this generative AI, the companies are pumping in a lot of money. They're starting new practices, and there is a lot of opening in the areas of NLP and your generative AI. Please upskill. That's the number one thing that you could always advise. Upskill. It's not so difficult right now. The market is so naive, or there is no kind of an thought leaders, or an architect kind of a person. It is so new. This term has come in like last 3 to 4 months. Upskill yourself. Learn what is a large language model. How should you take a simple solution and implement it? Make a business ready use case. Add it in your profile. That's it. That's it. So the current interview process that's happening across the organizations, right? So to be frank, so how it happens is like, whether you're good with NLP, right? Do you know something in LLM, and you showcase your interest in your resume? You should have done something, right? Even if there is a small POC that you have done, add it in your resume, right? This is some important the hacks that I could say. There is no the prompt engineer. There is not many prompt engineer that's available. There is a new designation that has also come in, right? So the Gen AI specialist, right? So all this is coming up. So in next 2 to 3 years, you will see a drastic improvements, right? So last before 3 to 4 years, there was no much data scientist, right? Nowadays there is so many data scientists. People are upskilling themselves, right? So soon people will upskill themselves in learning your LLM and your NLP, right? Please upskill. That's the only thing that I would say, right? So the data scientist. So what does a data scientist do? The data scientists are people with non-linear mindset. Okay, so just I've given too much of hype. It's okay, but they are expected to use predictive modeling, descriptive analytics to solve a business problem. Right? We say all this fancy stuff. The data scientist should have the bare minimum ability to convince the business needs. That's the number one thing, right? If you're not able to fulfill the business needs, there is no need of any of the roles, right? Sometimes the basic exploratory data analysis can fulfill your business needs, right? So believe me, we have done a very small project that lasted for 3 weeks. We have done an exploratory data analysis and we have charged 100K to the customer. They were very happy customers. It was a matter of 2 resources. We were a very small team. There was no senior leader involved. Because why did the client pay? Because we were able to fulfill the client need. Client was struggling very badly, right? We did a basic exploratory data analysis. We have put it in the dashboard and we gave it to the customer. They were so happy, right? So that's where your data scientist has emerged, and the tools, the language and tools that's required are your Python, your SQL, your TensorFlow, your Keras, your Cafe Big Data tools, your cloud architectures, and your cloud, either AWS, GCP, or an Azure, right? So the ability to at least work with a Tableau or a Power BI. So that's where I said, you start with a data analyst or an BI analyst, and then slowly upskill yourself and get into the area of your machine learning engineer or a data scientist, right? If you're going to keep on knocking for the roles of a data scientist, you'll easily lose at least 6 months to 1 year in that phase. By that time, if you're into the phase of a data analyst, learn the tools, upskill yourself, do a lot of POCs, keep your the public platforms. You upload all the projects in your GitHub, showcase your skills in your LinkedIn. Automatically, the opportunity will knock your door. Don't wait. Do not procrastinate. Right. So I'm seeing this, of late. People are waiting, like they're keeping on reading and studying and studying and studying. They're keeping on studying. You're not going for an exam. You're not doing any research, right? We are going to fulfill the business needs. How are we going to make money? By using algorithm that's written by someone. That's it, right? So ability to sell yourself. Look for the key skills and the way that you're able to sell yourself. Don't keep on reading the theoretical stuff. Don't get too much into the math unless and until if you're getting into the research area, that's okay. I've seen people writing equations of equations. right? So why? It's not even asked in the interview, right? So don't get into that phase. Focus on the key areas which is required, right? So the business analyst. So the business analyst are people who are responsible for liaising between the business users and technologists to exchange information in conscious, logical, and understandable way in coordination with the technology team. So there is in business the end user and the tech team. The bridge between your business and your tech team is your business analyst, right? Not everybody can get into, not everybody are required to get into the field of a data scientist, right? You don't have to take so much of stress, right? Unwanted stress, keeping on upskilling, right? So go with the area which you're comfortable in. If you're comfortable in speaking a lot, convincing your stakeholders, creating a bridge between your client and the tech team, here it is, the business analyst. You create Excel, your Visio, your SQL, and you're going to work with your wireframing tools like your Visio tools, right? So the skills required is your domain understanding, which domain you are. You keep on growing in your domain, right? Later on, if you want to become a manager a day, so keep on upskilling in the domain. Requirement gathering, requirement elicitation, process excellence, wireframing, prototyping, UAT, user acceptance testing, documentation, right? So the basic data analysis skills, right? So, you like to travel a lot, you like to speak a lot, you like to convince and create a bridge between your data analyst, your tech team, your delivery team, and your business, the clients or your senior stakeholders. You're going to be in bridge, right? So you're going to wireframe, you're going to speak, understand or observe from the business what is required. You put it in a wireframing tool and you communicate it well with your data, your delivery team. The national average, you can start with 6.5. Even this multiplier is also way lot higher, right? The business analyst has a lot of perks, a lot of travels, a lot of on-site opportunities. There's a lot in this area too, right? Now coming next. So the data analyst with data scientist with data engineer, right? So what is a data analyst again, right? So you curate the data, you visualize and report the data. The tools required will be Excel, SQL, Tableau. You're important, right? Out of all these important tools, right? So out of all these tools, the important 3 tools. The skills, your analytics, your communications and visualization. The ability to tell stories, right? The business facing, right? So business facing is going to be sometimes, right? The salary is also it's $65,000, US salaries. The data scientist, the responsibility is to source data, analyze data. You run various different experiments, right? So you do a lot of POCs and MVPs, right? Proof of concept and minimum viable projects, right? So that's where you are going to learn a lot of experiments. You build models, you recommend solutions, you tell stories, right? So the crux, the data scientist, in most of the skills, the storytelling is a very important thing. Your communication, you get into a corporate, communication is very important. In that, when you are having in client facing roles, the business facing roles, your communication is a must. The tools is going to be your Python, or if you're getting into the research area, or Python is good, your SQL. Your salary, and we have discussed that. Your data engineer, the responsibilities are going to build your data pipeline and warehouse, manage scalability of various different data products. Tools will be like your Java, C++, Kubernetes, Hadoop, Spark, and your Python. Your skills are your coding and your model implementation, and you're a tech savvy, right? So you're tech savvy, right? So wherever you're stuck, you're going to come up with the latest tools and do a lot of experiments with the latest tools that's available in the industry, right? So the data engineer, like I mentioned, and I'm taking it from the latest source. You should be good with your cloud, Hadoop, MapReduce programming, DBMS, data management, relational database modeling, NoSQL databases or an Apache HBase, data warehousing. You do the data ingestion using your Apache Scoop or your Apache Flume, and your Amazon Redshift, Apache Spark, your data pre-processing using your data processing using Apache Spark, PySpark, your Flink, and your real-time streaming using your Apache Kafka. So this is more of your tools based, tools oriented. Okay, so your deep learning or an NLP, if you're a data scientist, you are going to get into your bagging, boosting, your ensemble techniques, getting fundamentally strong with your hypothesis. How will you frame an hypothesis here? Being good with the stats, right? And if you're getting into the neural network area, if you're getting into the AI space, you're getting the deep learning space or an NLP space, you're good with your advanced regression techniques. How can I use an lasso? How can I use a ridge regression? How can I use an elastic net to create a trade-off between the bias and variance? I have an overfit problem. What should I do? I have so many different variables. How should I knock off the non-important variables? How am I going to use a convolution neural network or recurrent neural network? How can I use the advancement of a recurrent neural network like LSTM? Right? What are the advantages? What was the problem of a vanishing gradient? What was the problem of your exploding gradient? Right? So, and you're going to be good with your lexical processing, your syntactic processing, and your semantic processing if you're getting into the areas of your NLP. Right? And the latest boom, like I mentioned, you're going to work alongside with your LLMs. You're going to take the large language models and how can you use various different models, right? So there are so many open source models that's available. Just go to the LangChain website, go to your Llama index, just copy paste the codes that's available. Start with it. They have given a very easy guide. Do a basic exploration. I'll give you two projects, project ideas. You take a lot of your PDF documents, you upload the document, put it inside a vector database. Now you go back and learn what is a vector database. How can you do the vector embedding? How can you convert the text into vectors and save it in the database? So long we were speaking about the structured database, your relational database modeling, NoSQL database. We were singing all the songs. Now comes the vector database. How can you save your data in the vector format, which can be very quickly searched? We can do the similarity search. What is a similarity search? You have put 100 of research papers. You've done the vector embeddings and you have pushed inside your vector database. Now you're going to ask a question. What is this latest research paper and this the cascading of the LLM models? This question should go ahead the database. It should find the vector similarity score and it should say this belongs to the document 001. Right? So it's doing the vector similarity match, your similarity matching. You can do it using your cosine similarity, your Euclidean distance, and your k and nearest neighbors as well. Right? So, and once it does not have, how will I use an OpenAI, integrate an OpenAI GPT 3.5? There are tokens that's available in your Hugging Face. Go take the tokens, put your API tokens, integrate your GPT 3.5. You fetch, you ask this question. If it is not present in your vector database, it should give me the answer from the web source, from the learning that the GPT model it has. Right? Do the simple experiment. The question answering system is one top use case that's floating in the market, and your chatbot, right? Your chatbot is another the advancement in your GenAI. And your text to the language conversion. You have your copilots, you ask a question, it does the coding for you, right? So that's where, it does in fantastic coding. I have also seen a number of demos, right? So the powered with GPT-4 and given proper prompting, right? It can write a very beautiful program that's similar to written by senior software engineers, right? So that's where the advancement has taken place, right? Now the role hierarchy. Your role hierarchy is a 3-level hierarchy. Either you are a BA analyst, you are a data analyst, or you are a data scientist, you are a data engineer, or a machine learning engineer. It's a 3-level hierarchy. You start from scratch. You are a fresher, 0 to 2 years of experience. Then you become a senior business analyst, a lead, and you become a manager, or in other terms, an associate principal, or a manager, or and consultant, or a senior consultant. Various different designations in various different organizations. And to be put it in layman terms, you become a managerial role. You manage a role. You are going to perfectly take up a problem statement. You're going to solve it with the help of all this senior BA analyst and BA analyst, right? You complete the solutioning. You report to CTOs, or you report to your VPs first, your senior managers, your vice presidents. It's more like your director, right? So the director takes it and puts it to your CTO or CD. It's in 3-level hierarchy. So whether it is a data scientist or a data engineer, that's how it is in the various different market, currently. So you start as a fresher, and you become a lead, and you become a manager, you become a director, and then and CTO. This is how the hierarchy that happens in the field of data. Okay. So the salary which I've shown, right? So the salary which I've shown here is an annual, right? So there is a question whether there's a monthly or annual. So this 10.5 LPA is what I have shown for your annual salary, right? So, and can a non-technical background be a data engineer or a machine learning engineer? Because we'll prefer in person with engineering background. Why a non-technical person they will hire, right? So forget your engineering, what you have done. If you're a fresher, that matters still, 0 to 2.2 years of experience. So if you are an experienced folk, or you're a fresher, right? So go to your what was the role that you have asked? We asked for a data engineer or an ML engineer, right? So ML engineer. So yeah, they are going to hire from an engineering background, not necessarily just because the term engineer has come in there off. They'll always hire from the engineering background. That's not true. If you have the ability to do the programming, if you have the ability to do the coding and the basic knowledge in the machine learning algorithms, you are in go to go. I've worked with a guy who has been an masters in physics. He does a very good in programming, and he is a data scientist, right? Along with me, the juniors who are working along with me, they are not necessarily every time you have to connect with your background that you have done, right? That's not always the case. So if you're able to upskill, then it doesn't matter. Then it does. Right. So suppose if I'm already in a very high scale and in financial firm wanted to get into data analytics, what would you suggest? So what is your years of experience, Hafizullah? So what is your years of experience as of now? 16 LPA with 10 is very less, right? So that's the multiplier which I mentioned. 10 into you multiplied with 3 or 3.5. 10 years of experience, you should at least get 30 lakhs per annum. Right? So that's the base salary if you're getting into the data space, right? So the data space is very well paying. Nevertheless, to say it's also very difficult to enter and also to sustain, because you have to constantly upskill yourself, right? 10 years of experience, you multiply it with 3. So if you are completely new, and you want to get into the data analytics. Okay, you're coming to the data analytics here. Data analyst, right? So be good with your SQL and get a good knowledge in your cloud basics, right? So the ability to do with you have various different certification in cloud, right? So you become in cloud and with the Tableau or an Power BI certifications. So this certifications, not people always come up with a question, why should I always do the certification? This gives at least the HR to give preference for you. The shortlisting is done on basis of various different the softwares nowadays. Hundreds of profiles that's been submitted. Now earlier we had the location agnostic, right? So a person in Mumbai should have to come to the office in Mumbai, so they'll have very limited profiles. Now it's not the case, right? You have an office in Mumbai, pan India, they can come in, right? So there are various different softwares looking for keywords and they're looking at. So you do the certification in this areas, then it will be an extra edge, right? So you're doing trainings, perfect. You're also doing MBA. You're into so many things, right? So you can definitely quote Hafzullah. So wait for your course completion, upskill, don't be mediocre in the course that you're getting in. You complete it, you'll definitely get it. I'll give it to you in writing. You can definitely get into a very good space. That's how the industry is paying you. Okay. Now it's a 3-level hierarchy that, like I mentioned, and the competencies, like I mentioned, the data engineer, in IT knowledge, process centric, and dealing with ambiguity. Your data analyst, your eye for detail, your process centric, and your analytical mindset. Business analytics, business acumen, problem solving skills, your stakeholder management. Your ML engineer or a data scientist, sharp analytical skills, your result orientation, your research mindset. That is one important thing that I could say. The research mindset. The lot of problems that we are trying to solve today, there is no direct solution at all. We have to build our own solution. The latest problem that we are solving here in our organization is a text to SQL generation. There is no standard tool for it. There is no various different, leading the solutions for it. We are taking various different research papers. We are clubbing solutions and we are coming up with our own ideologies and how to convert a natural language to a SQL, proper SQL. So we have reached, we were at 50% accuracy. Now we are slowly reaching to 70 to 75% accuracy, right? How did I do it? I did not do it all by myself, right? Definitely I did not do by myself. We are taking the various different research papers, read the research papers, download the code, understand the code. How can I implement this code into my solution? Right? So that's where your research mindset comes in. That's very important skill. Take it in mantra. Take one research paper in your area of interest. Understand the research paper. Writing papers are a different area. If take a research paper, understand it. You read it first time, you will definitely not understand it. You go through it 2 or 3 times, you will definitely get a hang of it. All these top researchers have given all their codes in public domain. Take the code, understand the code. You don't have to necessarily replicate the code. You understand the code. It's like you're learning, right? So you have learned all your Newton laws. Doesn't mean you're replicating it. You're learning it. You're learning from these researchers, because these are top researchers. They have spent years to develop a solution, right? So they are working with the top-notch mindset and the brains in various different universities. You get inspired, understand what this research paper says, right? Try to implement like a solution what they have built. You learn the kind of an approach that they have built. What we were speaking is only your accuracy, your recall, F1 score, precision, right? There are so many other metrics which business needs that you will understand only if you read the research papers. If the client is coming from a new need, if there is a new request or there is a new call, Right? Where will you go? Go to the research paper. Your managers, your CTOs will not be able to help you. Right? Go read the research papers. That is very hard skill. Even I'm trying to excel in. I'm not saying I'm a master. I'm advising you. Please start it from the scratch. Right? Whichever position you are. You're 10 years experience, 12 years experience. You are you're a fresher. Learn the research paper. Learn to read the research paper, and you try to replicate what they have done. Okay. There are so many questions. Okay. 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 So tell me the good sites are on web platform to practice. You have your HackerRank, you have your LeetCode to master in your Python. Your HackerRank is very good site where nowadays all these corporates are getting tied up with this HackerRank, and this LeetCode is another platform which helps you to fine tune your skills in your programming language. Right, so these are two areas. You are currently a senior product engineer and learn SQL and Power BI. Right, but don't find Power. Okay. So the research papers where you will go to ResearchGate. Right, there is your IEEE. If you are working in corporates, you will have your free logins. If you are associated with various different universities, you will have your logins. Springer is there, IEEE is there, ResearchGate is there, search there. Okay. Okay. So okay, so you are a senior product engineer and you are learning SQL and Power BI and having a good knowledge. Okay, so how will you get, and what is the roadmap? So say, to be honest, the knocking the doors, there is no other option than knocking all the doors that's available in the industry, right? So the first entry is going to be very, very difficult. The quick or the cheat solution which I could say is look for an opportunity within your organization. If you are a data analyst, look for an opportunity within your organization. Request your manager so that you can build a solution, some data science or solution in the current, with the time frame that you're working, right? So you put some extra efforts and build some solution, propose it to the manager. How can you implement a solution within the current project? That is the step one, right? So you want to get into the IT, so that's there is no other option. You get through referrals. You have a lot of referrals. You haven't trade off to your salary when you are trying to enter in the first few years. Trade off the salary. After 3 or 4 years of experience, forget it. The magic will happen altogether, right? When I started, I had very, very less salary. With 1 year of experience, the same small company paid me close to 70% hike, right? It pays. The industry pays you very well. Do not worry about the salary. Have a trade-off if you want to. If you are aspiring to get into a very good role, the magic happens. Wait for 2 or 3 years. The IT industry is still in booming phase. It will definitely pay you, right? So you have 4 years of experience. And software developer, yeah. So if you are 4 years, so again, this is also another question always comes up. So I am in 4 to 5 years of experience in different area, right? So you want to get into the area of data sciences. You're a fresher for data sciences, and you're 4 years of experience. I've also faced the same situation. We are also facing the same situation each and every day in the industry, right? So when you're writing in your resume, put that I have 4 years of experience plus 1 or 2 years of experience into data business analyst, right? So or with 1 or 2 years of experience in your data scientist. The interview questions will be for 1 to 2 years. And the HR, when the salary comes into the HR, the multiplier taken for those 4 years is different. These 1 or 2 years is different. You can understand if there was a 4 into 2, 2 is the multiplier for and software developer. 4 into 2 was the 8. And for a data scientist, it was 3 or 3.5, 1 year of experience, right? 1 into 3.5. Then you take 8 plus 3.5, right? You get 11.5 to 12 as your salary, right? So you cannot have the direct multiplier for the total 4 years. That multiplier can apply only for those special years that you have put in. Right? So okay, so the website that I've mentioned is LeetCode, LEETCODE, LeetCode. Your hacker rank, right? Or the 2 different websites where you can practice coding, right? So after 10 years of experience operations, so it's good or not good, it's definitely up to you, Hafizullah. So the industry is ready and willing to pay, provided you show your skill and you haven't trade off with your salary. That's very complicated question. If you're able to showcase your skills, your techno-functional skills, and if you're able to convince your stakeholders and you haven't trade off to your salary, then it will happen. Okay. So if you're 10 plus years, show some managerial skills also. No? You do some agile certifications, your PMP certifications, right? So they can recruit you as a managerial in that area, right? So do not take a back step. I have so much of years of experience, should I have to get into data science? I have so and so years of experience, can I get into this area? Just have a belief and go, and somewhere you'll be able to connect the dots, because there is so much of openings in data sciences. Each and every project there is a data science scope, right? Each and every domain that you're working in has a data science scope. Each and every projection of projects that they're going to do, there is a data science scope. That's what I could say. There is so much of scope in data science. There is so much of vacancies. There is no enough skill set in the market, right? So okay, so I'm going forward. So your own career, pick which is best for you. This one slide which I wanted to always put, the people get a lot of confusion, even when we have tracks, for the various different platform, the online educational platform, we haven't track for deep learning, in natural language processing, computer vision. People get so much of confusion, right? So who are you as a person? Are you and person who are able, who can write the programming, you can write code, however experienced you are, right? So people think after 10 years, 15 years, I don't have to do the programming, right? So unless and until you are able to do the programming and you are able to read all the research papers, you upskill yourself, right? So get into the top-notch roles, right? If you are a person who like to tell a lot of stories, right? You want to take a bit of, not to stretch too much, business analytics is there, your BA analytics is there. Now don't have to stretch, everyone's life is different, right? So what is this, who are you as a person? What is your natural strength? That is the important thing. We see people put a lot of efforts for the data sciences. They lead all this algorithm, write all this math day in, day out. Now, after 2 years, they just forget it, right? They don't want to push. They just burn out, right? And they just forget it and they say, no, I don't want to become anything, right? So who are you as a person? That is most important. Your career life stays led by key aspirations and growth opportunities. Where are you in your life, right? Married, kid, you'll have your personal, the personal touch to the work as well, right? You have your kids, you have your own family needs to take care. It's very difficult, to stretch yourself beyond a time, right? So if you're a fresher, you have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, get into do a lot of projects, put your update your GitHub pages, or contribute to the open source libraries, open source platforms, you'll get the visibility, right? Why should I contribute to open source? Why should I contribute to Stack Overflow? Why should I contribute to the GitHub? Why should I post on LinkedIn? So you'll have the visibility, right? So you are interested in that area, right? If you want something, you should always ask, right? There is some say, right? If you want something, you're going to ask it. Unless and until you ask, Unless and until you showcase, unless and until you market yourself, you're not going to get what you are aspiring for. Right? What experiential learning that you've gathered beyond tools and techniques. Right? So these are the three different important points which would define your career choice. Right? So your career choices are influenced by these 3 points. That's where I have put these 3. Right? So pick your next option through. You create your own brand. You pick what is that role that you want to. Highlight the relevant achievements in that area. You build your own network. Networking is the underrated key skill. Not all the people who are working in top-notch companies or the top brains, they have their powerful network. People can learn anytime, anything, right? Your networking is your key skill. So that's why Jaro has taken a step and it is trying to build a network among you guys. Network is very important thing, right? So they want to create a networking between all your folks, and they want to take and step ahead, even after completing your courses, right? They want to create a network. Highlight your relevant achievements, right? Take a platform and you highlight, even when you're creating a resume, your LinkedIn, you highlight your presence, market yourself recklessly, right? Where do not underrate yourself. Market yourself recklessly. That's one thing which I have learned from my own mentor, right? My mentor has taught me that, right? Do not underrate yourself. Whatever you don't know, you'll be able to learn. Do not, substandard yourself. So these are some important points which I have learned from my own mentor. So and next thing we have spoke about the marketing and how to build your resume on LinkedIn. These are the 2 important things. Your resume is your marketing pamphlet. You're going to market yourself. LinkedIn takes it to the it can take it to the entire platform, the entire crowd. The complete world is watching you. You're going to apply your resume to an organization to look at it. You are telling about yourself in your LinkedIn profile. So these are 2 very, very important things that you should be having. Right keywords in your resume can make a significant impact in your career selection. Do not take the same resume and send it across to all the 10 to 20 organizations. Nobody will even have a look at it. If you're applying for an organization, open the JD, job description, look at the key skills they have mentioned. See whether those key skills are there in your resume somewhere. Even for your resume to be shortlisted, forget your interview opportunity, clearing the interview. That's the next thing. This resume shortlisting is done by softwares. For one opening, for 10 different openings, we had close to 120 profile that was come to us. The HR is not getting into the HR is not getting into all the shortlisting nowadays, right? They're straight away getting sharing it to the project manager, or the project manager again dumps it to us, right? So we have to get into the skills, right? So there are so many different tools available, right? Even if that skill is not mentioned in your resume, why should we even look at your profile? You can have all these skills, all the flying skills that you can have in this world, but the key skill which I am looking, if it is not present in your resume, you will not be even called for your interview. Got it? Have the resume prepared, have a common resume or your standard resume. When you're applying for an organization, you create a resume with respect to the organization's job description. This is one mistake where most of the freshers, I have seen even some experienced folk doing it. Do not blindly take it and share it to all these different organizations. That is the most bad idea that I would say, right? So the next is your LinkedIn profile. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated till your face in your profile DP. and the background, what is that you want to convey to the world. Update your about section. Update what is the key projects that you're working on. Update on the papers that you have published and the recommendations that you have. Someone telling about you on a public platform, that's nothing more than the self-written and hundreds of recommendations that you are getting. Someone is recommending you on the key skills that you have mentioned in the LinkedIn. Now these are some important, the small mistakes people make. Go update your LinkedIn. You can connect to various different CTOs, the hiring managers, the senior data scientists, various different people in the LinkedIn. These two are very important things that you should build. Once this call is over, please build your resume and your LinkedIn profile. That's the humble request that I would say, right? So executive summary highlighting your critical skills, your strategic function within the organization to showcase your value additions. What is the value that you have generated? I have worked in so-and-so project. What is the value that you have generated? Put that in a number for me. 2% increase in value, 5% increase. So I was able to save 5 hours of time. So come up with a metric, right? What should it contain? Ask yourself these questions. If I could tell a hiring panel just 3 things about myself, what is that I could say, that I could sell about myself? Put that in your professional achievements. What is the career achievements am I most proud of? I have 10 years of experience. Look, think back, reflect, and put the key career achievements that you are most proud of. Your key areas of expertise, most valuable and intangible traits. Yeah, how did you tackle and conflict in the team? Right. So, what would I like to achieve next? What is the unique skills, traits, or experiences that I may have? Right. So, if you are applying for a position of a data scientist, do not put all this experiences that you have worked as a test engineer, that you were doing building Java, you are building an Android app. Do not put all those things. Reduce it, cut short it. Say, I'm a hiring manager. Why would I get into all these different things that it is not even important for me? Right. So that's where I'm saying have a master resume, customize it to the different the opportunities that you have, various different organizations that you are going to upload. Structure of your profile is going to have your opening title, your current role, highlighting what is your critical function in the organization. Executive summary, keep it crisp, engaging for the recruiters to run through the entire profile. Your body, your work experience, highlight the key projects and achievements in each of your experience to draw the attention. State the tangible facts and sustain your claims. Right. So what are the publication? Publication, not necessarily only your research papers. You have written white papers. You have written some blogs. Even that can be added in your publication. Your educational certification. Right. So so in your resume, please do not put your profile, your image. Do not put your image. Right. So where there are various different organizations that right away rejects if you have an image in your profile. There is that bias thing is there, right? So they have selected on basis of so and so bias, right? So the recruiter do not have, because these are something that additions in this softwares, right? So do not have your image in your resume. That's not required. Please remove it. Unless and until you have an very good CGPA, do not put your marks in your resume. If you have a 9-point CGPA, if you have 8-point CGPA, you are in gold medal. Only put those specific educational, things that you have achieved in your resume. Right? You have done a project and it was, appreciated, and it has got you some medal or it has got you some credibility. You put that project. Just don't put participated in hackathons, aspiring data scientist. These are some words. You see that in resume, the right away your resume has been rejected. You do not say you are aspiring data scientist. Don't put you're an aspiring data scientist. You're a data scientist. Put you're a data scientist. Any recruiter wants an experienced folk. I'm a recruiter. I'm going to say What is the value that you're going to bring it to my team? I'm not here. See, we are paying you. What is the value that you can generate for me? Right? You are aspiring to become a data scientist. You can aspire to become anyone. Change that key. No, you have to convince, you have to sell yourself. You are an data scientist, experienced data scientist with so and so. That's where, so I'm learning. I participated in hackathons. No, if you have participated in hackathons, did you come in under rank 10? Put that achievement. Else, do not put it. Right? So these are some important things. Right? So you have achieved so and so, the 4-star rank in your lead code, or your 5-star rank. You have achieved something. Only then you put. Right? You should recklessly market yourself. That's what I'm saying again. Right? You put something that do not showcase even one point of mediocrity in your resume. Right? I am learning the natural language. I'm learning the large language models. Do not put that. If you're learning, that is for yourself. I do not want someone who is learning. I'm recruiting someone who is already an expert in it. Whether you're expert or not, that's up to you. When you're putting it in your resume, just recklessly market yourself. That's what I'm saying. Right? So that's how you can sell. That's how that's the key thing in selling, right? So nobody has ever become fair by using fair and handsome, but still, they are promoting it. They're recklessly promoting it, right? So that's how you are going to promote yourself, right? The personalized feedback. So each and every participant, we have close to 420 participants here, right? So each and every participant should have a mentor. That is an important thing. The mentor can be your friend, or a friend who has achieved a dream job that you wanted to do. Your manager, your professor, your research, your research assistant. Yet every participant here should have a mentor. Do not take decisions on your own. Consult with your mentor. If you want to become a data scientist at a Microsoft, find a mentor, right? So who has achieved, who is there in the similar place, right? Or who is able to guide you in your rough times, right? I've taken very bad decisions in my life. I myself have my own mentors. So once I started building this habit, I have 2 to 3 mentors. So I always convince with them. It can be even your juniors, right? Speak to them, right? Get their thoughts, right? So every participant should have a mentor. The mentor's recommendations. So are you aligned with the career outcomes as per your mentor's recommendations? Yes. It's what's next. Next step to achieve the outcome, and focus the areas of your learning objective. Frame your plan with your milestones. If you know, then you seek alignment. Is the current reality matching your aspirations, right? So what is the time that you have? What is the amount of time that you're spending each and every day? What is that you can achieve in next 3 months, right? Always have a time bound plan, right? So you all have completed this course, right? How many have built a project in that area, what you have learned? What is that you have done something with the learnings that you have done? Always have a time bound plan. You should have a the career goals are met only with a clearly defined objectives that is translated to a time bound plan. You can have a 30-day plan, a 60-day plan, a 90-day plan. You're going to have your own, time. Unless and until you do not have a defined goal and time, believe me, you will never reach that goal. Right? Okay. To enhance your learning and visibility, check the profiles of the industry leaders in the field of data science, or the data analyst, or the dream role that you want to achieve. I've added that here. You can, there is an hyperlink. You go to LinkedIn. Nowadays, LinkedIn is there, right? What is the dream role that you want to achieve? See what he has done. See if you can speak to the person, right? Nowadays, there is a lot of opportunities to speak to the various different folks. You can connect with them, using TopMind. You can connect with them using the various different platforms. You can book a time slot and you can speak to them, right? See how can you speak to the industry leaders of the data sciences, how find your own mentor and connect with them often, right? So something that you want to aspire, I want to become like a so and so person, right? Find them in LinkedIn. Find the dream job description. This is what my dream job is. Go to Naukri, go to LinkedIn jobs. This is my aspired job, right? You convince yourself, this is my aspired job. Have a job description, take and print out, put it in front of you, right? So these are some simple advices, right? So generic advices, we give it to the freshers, right? So similarly, I'm just saying it here, right? So the visual storyboarding, storytelling and business context. And there are various different, I've also attached the resources from which you can create your resumes, right? So you always have your canva.com. Most of you should be knowing your canva.com, right? So again, I've also given 2 different links to create your resumes, right? Let me go back to the questions. There are so many different questions and hand raised. Let's see. I wanted to also take a simple example and do a basic regression using Excel. I'll tell you why Excel and why am I doing it, right? So you're currently pursuing okay. Fine. So Karan, if you could, Sonam, if you could unmute Karan Saraf, right? So Karan,
Yes,
Karan, SARAF, Karan Saraf.
okay, sir. I'm just watching it.
Sir, he is logging 2 devices. Which one we need to unmute?
Oh,
That's
okay.
enough.
He has put a direct message
You're
here.
audible, right?
Karan, yes.
Now I'm giving unmute.
Yes, good evening, sir. Am I
Hi,
audible,
Karan.
sir?
Yes,
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 sir.
Karan.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So Karan, what is your question? Could you brief it?
Sir, currently I'm engaged as a senior manager, MIS.
Okay.
So I am in charge of daily reporting for we have a range of items we are supplying to tier 1 vendors of Bajaj Auto in steel components. So there are around 150 components, and I have to report on a daily basis because the group turnover is very big. And actually, before enrolling for this executive program in data analytics from Adani Digital Institute, I was around 6 months back, I was just utilizing MS Excel for my daily reporting. And now, just recently, I've upskilled. I mean, I'm still upskilling myself, and I am actually practicing a lot of things on Power BI. So I'm currently utilizing matrix visualization from Power BI software and utilizing it for my daily reporting and also for analyzing the production of CNC and crop department. So recently, just 2 months back, I've got a salary hike of a small amount because the managing director and my boss, they were really happy with my performance because I actually extracted some valuable insights from the tons of data which organization was collecting. So my major concern is that in our EBPA program we don't have SQL. We have Python, we have R, we have machine learning, we have Power BI, but we don't have how is SQL very essential.
See, so SQL is essential. See, SQL is more like you're working with your Excel, right? So how you're working with Excel, right? So it's like filtering data.
Yes, so actually, So like our organization has all the data on Tally, and there's a VC software.
Okay.
So all the Brightbar and all, like a lot of things also is going for job work to the other group units, to other
Okay.
group companies.
Okay, all right, all right. See, if you ask SQL,
I have
SQL is learning SQL is a must. Learning SQL, the basic SQL will not take you so much of time. So any person who want to get into this Power BI, so you should have a basic SQL knowledge. Basic SQL knowledge is essential, right?
Okay.
So your basic SQL knowledge will be essential. That's what I would say, right? Not and mastering skill set. Basic SQL is must. You can should have the ability to take the data from the database, right? From any database, you should have the ability to take the data. That's a must, right? So if you do not, if you're not using it in the organization, and if it is not there currently in the learning program that you have, just focus or go with the flow of their own pedagogy. They have created in pedagogy, just go with the flow. Once that is completed, you can have the first thing to learn SQL. So don't just pitch in right now. I would say complete the course that you have enrolled in. Right? Do not delay in the assignments or create backlog. So once that is done, Excel is important. I mean, your SQL is important. Sorry.
Okay.
So ability to take the data is very important. It's the basic skills, like how you're working in Excel. You create joins, multiple tables, and you fetch the data, of your own interest. That's it. The basic things. Okay, is that okay, Karan?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect.
Sir, can we start with the Excel first that you were going to show before going for the Q&A rounds? Yeah.
Sure. I'll share my screen. Right, so I've taken one simple example here. Right, so how to do an analysis in Excel. So this is often underrated. The technique. That's one thing which I wanted to say. I thought through a lot of examples. See, this Excel is an Atma, right? So how one regression happens, you can clearly explain using an Excel to your stakeholders, right? This is how one linear regression happens. This is how one prediction happens. This is how the basic, the prediction that happens that you can showcase in Excel. See, this example that I have taken, there is in sales. This is again taken from one, textbook from Naresh Malhotra. So the sales is influenced by marketing in TV, or marketing in radio, or marketing using newspaper. The basic starts the regression. What was the influencing factor? Right? So how can you do it using Excel? Right? So I'm doing the multilinear regression here. I'm not getting into the regression concept. I'm not getting into the formula. I'm not getting into the math. I'm explaining you how can you do in regression, and you can do and forecasting. All this, the gradient descent, the optimizers have not all of a sudden come, right? So you can do all this optimization, everything in Excel also, right? So how was sales impacted using your TV marketing in TV, marketing using radio, marketing using newspaper, right? You can go to data analysis. See if you have data analysis. If you do not have the data analysis, go to file, go to options, go to add-ins, file, options, Excel options, add-ins. I hope you have opened the Excel and you have reached the state. And give go. You have your add-ins for your Excel. You have various different add-ins. I've selected analysis tool pack and solver add-in. Give OK. I'm just repeating it again. File, options, add-ins, Excel add-ins here, manage here. There are so many add-ins here. By default, there will be an Excel add-ins. Just give go. You'll have a pop-up window. Select analysis tool pack, solver add-in. Give OK. Okay. Go to now. There will be two different options: your data analysis and your solver. Solver is used, to optimize. You can do your optimization problems using your solver, your OR, operation research, and you can do your the minimization, your cost function minimization, maximization, everything is your solver. Okay, so there's a broad topic I'm not getting into here. So let's take a data analysis. What all you guys were doing in Python, right? So you can see the correlation, your covariance, your descriptive statistics, your F-test, your histogram, your moving average. You can do all this test using your data analysis, your Excel. So for the stats, just for the stats, I would say prefer Excel, right? So the input Y is your sales, X is your TV, radio, and newspaper, your independent variables. Y is your dependent variable and X is your independent variable. I'm selecting labels in the first row. Okay, then I select residuals. Labels is nothing but, so they have the labels, correct? And I give OK. See how you can do a basic regression analysis, right? So you have your R squared. Can someone tell what is an R squared? Residual is nothing but your actuals. Your actual minus predicted is your residual, right? I'm assuming you all have completed the course, your analysis course, analytic course, and you have come here, right? So your residual is nothing but your actual minus predicted. This is the predicted. You have your actual, right? So your actual sales is your predicted sales. Actual minus predicted is your residuals, right? So what is your R squared? Let's say some active response. What is an R squared? Can you put it in chat? I've touched base, so I'm assuming you all have completed the business analytics course. Correlation coefficient, is that an R squared? No. Take a minute. What is an R squared? You're all aspiring to become data analyst, business analyst, data scientist. Let's come with the fundamentals. Coefficient of determination, Nityanand, perfect. So the coefficient of determination, right? So your coefficient of determination is your R squared. So I put it in simple layman terms. Your proportion of variation in Y, your proportion of variation in sales is explained by the linear relationship of the independent variables TV, radio, and newspaper. Right? So the proportion of variation in sales, it's the variance calculation. It's just the variation. Proportion of variation in Y, the sales, is explained by the independent variables. How much did this independent variable understand the proportion of variation in your target variable sales? 90% of your variation in your sales was answered by these three important variables. The marketing in your by newspaper, by marketing in your TV, marketing using radio. 90%, right? Show this to your stakeholder or your manager. 90% that this has improved, that the model is able to predict, right? So this the proportion of variation in Y, the sales can be predicted using these three important variables. Right? You're going to use an adjusted. Where will you use an adjusted R squared? Let's see some active responses. Perfect, Aman. So where are you guys? So what is an
Yes.
adjusted R squared? Yes. So what's an R squared and adjusted R squared? Let's see some active responses. Come on, guys. We are close to 350 folks. Where will you use an adjusted R squared? You're going to use an adjusted R squared when there is more number of variables added. Adjusted R squared will be used when there are more number of variables added in. Right? So it's to penalize for extra one variable added using your degrees of freedom. Right? Now you can see which is influencing more. Right? So which is influencing more? So 0.05 is the coefficient of your TV, 0.10 is the coefficient of your radio, 0.0003 is your coefficient of your newspaper. What does it mean? 1 unit increase in marketing spend in your radio, there will be 10%, 10.7% increase in sales, unit in increase in sales. If there is 1 unit increase in marketing spend in radio, that could be 10.7% increase in your sales, average sales. See, this is kind of a story that you can do using your regression, the basic, your multilinear regression, right? So how can you use your basic Excel to do all this analysis, right? You have your data in Excel. You can do most of your exploratory data analysis using Excel. Right? Why did I bring in Excel here? Because we have many senior folks who are completely new to Python. Right? So that's where this ask has come up. Right? How can I do without using an programming language? Right? Open an Excel. You have all this analysis. You know, you can do magic. You can do your complete operation research problem using your solver. Right? You have learned your gradient descent, your stochastic gradient descent, your Adam. There are various different optimizers. Now here we can use GRG nonlinear, your simplex. These are all mathematical models which are used for setting the maximization or minimization of the cost function. Right? So how can you do the basic of data analysis using your Excel? You can do your descriptive parts using Excel. This is very useful for your storytelling. Right? I'm not taking it any further. I can keep on explaining, you know, keeping time in mind. You know, let's take some questions.
Sure, sir.
Sure.
So we can start with the Q&A round then.
Yes.
All right. So we first have Bharati Raja. I'll just unmute her to ask her questions.
Sure.
Miss Bharati, are you there? I think so she's not available. We'll go to Mr. Vaibhav Zawar.
Hello.
Hi, Vaibhav.
Hi, Sarvesh. Just wanted to know, I'm from finance background, and how can I switch to my profile into the data analytics field? Because lots of things are going to automated, and lots of things we need to analyze in future in maybe finance domain as well. So what will be the path for that?
Right. So if you are getting into your data analyst, so the data analyst is one should have the ability of, they want to get the data from the database, right? It could be a SQL database, it could be in big data, right? You should have the ability to get the data from the database, right? So the very important skill set, like I mentioned, so the storytelling capability, right? So you should be aware. See, let us take, say there is a data that's pushed into a database. Data analyst should take the data, make a story, put it in Tableau or in BI tools, make a story out of it. and they make the story and tell it to the stakeholders. So the skills that you should be excelling is in your SQL and in your big data and in cloud and in BI tools like in Tableau or in Power BI. These are some the key skills that you should be upskilling yourself on.
Actually, I did some certification course in Power BI and Tableau,
Okay.
and but still I'm searching for that relevant profile. So how can search for that?
You have done in Power BI. Okay.
Power BI and Tableau. And
Power BI. Okay. You have done certification, architect level certificate. You have
no,
done
no, not architect, just a basic certification, some visualization, data cleaning, data mining.
Okay. Say, like I said, knocking the first time opportunity is very difficult. So contribute to the open source, right? So show the visibility in LinkedIn, put it in, upload your GitHub profiles, like create and master resume, right? So these are some key steps, the protocol that we can start with, the starting steps to get into it, right? So these are the standard ways that you can get to your dream job. Right? Speak to folks that who have achieved already into the area, right? Get some guidances. That's the one thing that I could say.
Okay, thank you.
I hope, Mr. Vaibhav, your questions have been answered in an appropriate way. We'll go to Mr. Devdinya Banerjee. I'll ask him to unmute himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hi,
you are
Devdinya.
totally audible.
Yeah. Hi, Sarvesh. Thank you for the wonderful session. It was really like a good learning experience for all of us. So, Sarvesh, actually, currently I'm working as an Azure data engineer, okay, so in one of the IT companies. So my ask is like, I'm in a very critical juncture where I need to move on to either a data architect kind of a role or a data engineering manager. Okay, so I mean, I have an inclination towards both the sides, and in fact, like I have the proper skills to handle a team as well as like proper technical skills in order to deal with the projects. And I have been working with some of the European clients now. Okay, so I mean, according to you, which one do you think is a better career path? I mean, if you consider in the long-term compensation wise, so is it a data engineering manager or a data architect?
So if you want to look for a long-term goal, which is which pays well, data architect is one area which is getting paid very well. Right? You get into the manager streams, then you will be managing the resources. You'll have to get into all those things like managing resources, getting the work done from the resources. You get into an architect, you'll be an the solo contributor. You'll be an one-person contributor creating the architectures. Being a data architect is one area where there is very good, the compensation wise is also the architect is getting very good paid. After 15 years of experience, the architect is paying very, very, very high salary compared to the managers, the data engineering managers. So, so yeah. So the again the terms and the designations goes hand in hand. So you could be a data architect of the data engineering, right? So you're a data engineering architect. So that's how it could be there. You'll be creating an architect of various different tools and the flow and the pipeline, and you'll be creating the orchestration of the various different tools that you have created, right? So you could become a data engineer architect. That is one very good area where the compensation is very good in the market.
Currently I'm working in that area. Like I'm an Azure cloud data engineer working mostly with Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks in areas of PySpark, SQL in that area especially.
Okay, you're already in that. So yeah, so that's one thing. If you're already in that, complete few more certifications. There is a lot of openings in that area. Try to compare and do the same architect level certifications in Azure. That will have a better visibility.
Okay. Thanks, Sarvesh. Yeah, really helpful. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sonali.
I hope Mr. Banerjee has been answered with a very great answers. So we'll start with Mr. Nityanand. Mr. Nityanand, are you there?
Yes, I am there. Yeah. Thank you, Sonali. Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir, yeah, basically I have a question where like basically I'm a 5 years experienced candidate. Out of 5 years, I have 2 years experience as a sales associate. Okay, in a tech company, by just obviously you are aware of it. Then I got promoted as an operations manager. Okay, so now currently I'm working as an operations and analytics manager. Last 2 years, I have taken up the responsibility of analytics also as I'm working with Google Sheets and Excels. Okay, when I joined the business analytics course with with Jaro, I started exploring with Tableau, Power BI recently and everything. Okay, so now I'm interested into moving into the banking sector, analytics into the banking sector. So do I need to do any certification related to that, or like my skills are more than enough? Because I know the basics of SQL now, but to enter into analytics, banking analytics, we need to know SAS, right?
Not necessarily. See, you're getting into SaaS, then it's a different. So you want to get into analytics? No, it's not necessarily. See, it depends on the tool that the bank is using. Again,
No,
right?
but most of the banks are using SAS.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily everyone is using SaaS. So
Okay.
it has changed. So
Okay.
they have far gone. And SaaS is like, the version, the license costing is very expensive in SaaS.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean SaaS, right? The analytical tool.
Yes.
Yeah, you mean, okay. You are speaking about, and SaaS, that's an analytical software, right?
Yeah.
Statistical analytics software. Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
believe. So the licensing cost of SaaS is again expensive. People have started moving to the open sources. So I agree. SaaS was one tool which has given the complete pipelining, to do the lot of analytics, all those things. You can do it very easily using SaaS.
Okay.
Right now, there is lot of many other tools giving it for an open source, right? So open source, which could be integrated with the cloud platforms, it's giving a very easy integration. It's not necessarily you get into the SaaS unless and until you have a dream job in mind, and that has a SaaS involved, right? Unless and until you don't have to equip yourself, upskill yourself in SaaS, and you're getting into an industry, then there is no SaaS in it, right?
Okay.
So good with your that's a very good the career that you had from sales to Power BI to now and banking, right? So good with, and the banks all are working with your SQL. Still they are stinging to your SQL, your Oracle. They are slowly the migration in the cloud. The banking sector is slow comparing to the other sectors. The
Okay.
migration to the cloud. Being good with cloud is important. SQL is very important. Being
Okay.
strong with SQL in any banking, SQL has become very important area.
Okay.
Right? And Power BI and Tableau you have already good with. All right. So this it's already you're good, right? So developing your skills in your SQL and the ability to get the data from any big data sources, that will also enable you to distinguish your profile more.
Okay. So now I've been working as an operation analytics manager. So like I'm since I'm interested into banking, so I have a doubt like to which role I need to take up on, because now to switch into a particular banking domain, I cannot expect a manager role. I can only expect as a data analyst, a senior data analyst role, right?
Yes,
so what
yes.
could be the future of that? You have I've been literally confused on that.
You can be a lead data analyst, right? So with the after an years of experience, even if you want to go as a fresher, even though there is some less experience, there is some HR norms, right? So even after certain years of experience, you cannot work along with the freshers. So you'll have to work with the age group of yours. So you'll become a lead data analyst.
Okay.
So that would be your designation, right? Manager, it takes time. So the lead data analyst is some profile that you can apply for. Lead
Okay.
has some wide, right, from 8 years of experience to 15 years of experience. Everyone will be in lead, and the salary is also the scale is from the 8 lakhs to 30 lakhs. So the scale is also very high. Lead
Okay.
data analyst is one area. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sarvesh.
I hope, Mr. Nityanand, your answers have been questioned in an appropriate way and you have been shared with the great insights. I would be requesting Mr. Tanmay J to share his insights on the programs that has been recently launched. Requesting all the learners to, yeah. I hope my screen is visible. Yes.
Hello. Thank you, Sonali. I think I was on mute. A very good evening to all learners. I believe you had a wonderful session today. Just to give you an information, we had one, Jaro Education, as we always believe in lifelong learning experience. We recently, tied up with NITI. NITI Mumbai is currently now known as, IIM Bombay. And, we launched one program, which is a very short duration program covering the fundamentals and foundations of business analytics. This program is known as Global Online Certification Program on reinventing business operation with the use of data analytics. Right now, this particular program, when Jaro tied up, we focus to promote government vision of PM Gati Shakti Yojana, and that's what NITI, that is IIM Bombay now, and Jaro Education is promoting. Right. So if any of you wish to do this particular program and want to get more information, you can reach out or visit Jaro Education. Just to give you an idea, this program is exclusive for Jaro learners. So for Jaro learners, we have an scholarship up to 60%. So net fee would be around 8,000 for Jaro learners. However, if some industry professionals want to do this particular program, the program will be at actual cost. But for more details, you can always reach out to Jaro Education or your respective counselors if you are in touch with anyone, and feel free to know more. Yeah, that's it, Sonali. It was just an information that I wanted to brief about this opportunity. Now it's up to you for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Sure, sir. So we have multiple of questions yet remaining. The next question is from Ms. Nebu A. Salim. I'll ask her to unmute herself. Ms. Nebu, are you there?
Yes, Sonali. Hi.
Can you turn on your camera, because we would be requesting all the participants to turn their cameras while questioning any of the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Hi, Sarveshwaran. Hello.
Sir, are you up there? I think so. There are certain network issues. I'll just call him. Yeah. Till the time sir is joining, I would be requesting all the participants to fill up the feedback form. I've just shared it on the chat as of now. So you can share your insights and for better understanding what we can come up with.
So Sonali, sorry, I got disconnected.
You're audible. No problem, sir.
Nebu,
good
can
evening,
you please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
Mr. Nebu is there. We are questioning you for his insights and whatever question he has into his mind in terms of business analytics and data scientist roles.
Yeah. Hi, sir. So I have been working as a Java support engineer for the past 2.5 years. So I'm trying to move into data science or ML engineer role. But recently I came across something called the ML Ops, machine learning operations. So just going through that, I thought it would be more appropriate for me because the skill sets are a bit similar to what I have been working on till now. Could you give me some insight on that?
Okay. See, ML Ops has again, it has also made a big change, right? So we were speaking about the model development, fine tuning the model, coming to a better accuracy. Where is the deployment? Where is the CI/CD? It's the extension of your DevOps. We have the model that has been placed. Where is the continuous integration? Where is the continuous deployment and continuous training? This CA, CD, CT was a very important part in the puzzle that was missing, right? So this ML Ops has filled that puzzle. It has accounted the data governance in place. Whenever there is a data drift or a model drift, the CA and CD happens, right? The continuous integration and continuous deployment happens. When there is a new data, when there is a new ETL, so the continuous integration, CA, CD, CT happens. The ML Ops is a very perfect solution for you. There is so much of opportunities again in the market. So ML Ops, you will be more into learning your any cloud platform like Azure DevOps. Any one platform where Kubeflow, MLflow, there are various different platforms where you should learn that, and you should have the capability to do the deployment part, right? So you should have the continuous integration. So you should have to create in versions of the models that has been built, and you do the CA, CD, and CT part. So that's where it is, Nebu. Nebu, did I answer your question?
Yes, that was fine. Yeah, thank you.
That sounds great. So we have a last question from Mr. Swapnil. I'll just unmute him. Mr. Swapnil, are you there?
Hi. Yes, hi. Hello, Jaru, and hello, sir. Thank you for organizing this session, Jaru, and thank you, sir, for the comprehensive understanding. I really appreciate that. I have also researched on what is data science. So the detailed role which you have explained, which really helps me. I want to understand, I want to start as a data science manager. So what are the skill set I should look after? Because I have a 10 years of experience and I'm looking more into the management field as a data science, as a project delivery of data science projects. So I just want, can you help me in that?
Perfect. So again, like you said, that's a perfect thing, right? You do not have to get into the lowest level of detail, getting into the maths. So what is a business? What is the current business that you're working in? What are the various tools? What are the business different algorithms that's available which could fulfill your business needs? You do not have to understand the algorithm. You should know what that algorithm does. What does this process does? What is unsupervised learning? What is an unsupervised learning? So there is some separate, there is learning for, data science for managers altogether. You do not have to the math. You do not have to get to the programming. You should know what does an cloud platform or the various tools that can do to fulfill the business needs, right? So for that, you are going to understand what is the basics of a machine learning, right? An overview of machine learning and understanding the various different algorithms in the supervised learning and an unsupervised learning. And you're going to see how can your business fulfill, the business problem is answered using these tools, right? You should have the capability to convert business problem to an analytical problem. Say there is a customer that's coming up and saying, I have the data and I want to analyze the customers and I have to create segments, right? I want to create 3 different segments. Now you should have the capability to convert the business problem to an analytical problem. So we are going to use in k-means clustering to do the clusters into the price conscious customers, the psychographic customers, and the price price savvy customers, right? So you should have the capability to convert a business problem to an analytical problem, right? You do not have to get into doing a k-means algorithm, but you should have the capability to say that clustering should fulfill this business problem. Right.
Understood,
so that
sir.
level of understanding you should have.
Yeah. So I should know the know-how of each process, and which will help to manage the stakeholder and visualize in their language. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you. So yeah. I'll connect with my consultant on this to understand any courses. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll start with this Swayam Tirtha, right? So the thing is that she is currently the last one to have a question. Just a little bit one more question, so that will come up to the line.
Thank you, Sonali. Yeah. This is Som Tirtha. Sir, thank you for your time and your support. I have actually 2 questions. I am working like regional manager for industry recruitment, and I have experience more than 15 years. So if I want to transform my career as a service delivery manager in a software company or software product company, is there any certification is needed? This is the first thing.
So the industry which you are working, is it agile based? Because here everything is agile. So the agile has matured, and the agile way of working has been established in various different service companies and in product based companies, right? So you should have the capability to work in an agile, agile, lean, and the learning of
Agile is directly not incorporated with the company, but I know some agile method and I know the lean method, and basically we are everything going to the Salesforce. Every job work, and if we are telling about that process, and apart from that, I know the agile method and lean method, and very basic idea of the Scrum also.
Okay. Right. So there are various different, the Agile certified practitioner, right? So you do that ACP, Agile certified practitioner. You have your there is PMI, the Project Management Institute certifications, right? You have your PMP, your project. I don't know the full form, but there is a project. That's what I think. PMI, PMP, right? So PMI, PMP, your Project Management Institute, your so you doing this certification will have an extra the visibility in your HRIs. When you want to boost your salary, these certifications will be an enabler, right? So all these degree certifications, when it comes to the HR round, these are some, the salary boosters. This will boost your salary. Oh, this has, they have the criteria in their system, right? So you have so and so certifications, your salary boost happens. Doing a certification is definitely it's not a waste. It will definitely, it will help you to connect the dots.
Okay, sir. My second question is that if I pursue my career as a business analyst, so only Power BI and AWS will help me. AWS certification, foundation certification will help change my career over there.
Stick to one cloud. One cloud is enough. While doing the certification, doing one cloud, whether you're comfortable with the AWS, do all the certification in AWS, because when your customer is in Azure, you can compare.
Not Azure, sir. I'm Power BI and AWS. I'm asking for you.
Yeah, sure. Power BI is one BA tool that you have learned and you have completed the certification. For cloud part, you are doing an AWS.
AWS, correct? Right, sir.
Perfect. Yeah. So you have learned AWS, then go with that, right? So the Power BI is again Microsoft product, so it has an easy integration with Azure cloud, right?
Okay.
So if you haven't possibility, do the cloud fundamentals, the Azure fundamentals, AZ 900, AZ AI 900. So this will again create a visibility.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll hand over the session with a vote of thanks right now. So yeah. A heartfelt thank you for joining us at this insightful business analytics bootcamp. On behalf of Jaro Education and the entire team, I extend our deepest gratitude to each one of you for your active participation. I would also like to express our appreciation to our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Sarveshwaram Rajagopal. Your expertise, experiences, and practical insights are valuable to us, and we are truly grateful for your time and effort. To our wonderful audience, your enthusiastic engagement, thought-provoking questions, and active involvement have made this event truly collaborative. We hope that the knowledge and ideas exchanged today will shape your future endeavors in analytics domain. Looking ahead, we are excited to bring you more engaging and enlightening events. Once again, thank you for your presence. I wish you all a fantastic day ahead. For more updates, do follow Jaro Education on various social media platforms. And don't forget to download the Jaro Connect app, available on both Play Store and App Store. Thank you so much.